All right, I'm so good to be here. It's very clear that I should have brought my tinfoil hat, and I have several tinfoil hats, so it actually works out perfect. I guess you would consider me a domestic terrorist according to the rules and the fact the FBI has already been at my house with my wife and I, because we happen to be at J6. When election fraud was fake that day, but do we think election fraud is still fake today? We think it's fake today? Okay, it's clearly not fake. In fact, I've been working on this for a long time. But because I go after the medical mafia and expose child sex trafficking, I happen to be a target. Where we've been attacked, poisoned 2 times, and I wear it as the badge of honor now because it just means we're probably speaking truth to power. Check. There we go. Look at that. Thank you. Got it? So ultimately, what's important really is we the people. And it's very simple. And I believe a long time ago I've said this. If it's simple, it's God's work. If it's complicated, something else is probably going on. Right? And we could easily, when I say easily, if all of us get together, we can take back our sovereignty because our sovereignty has been stolen from us. Would we all agree with that?
Yes.
Right? Now, first thing we need to do is we need to personally claim our sovereignty and understand that the most important word in the English language is no. Right? And if we want to talk about mandates, that's an interesting thing because mandates aren't law. Mandates are a dog whistle to the corpocracy to start enforcing things that are not law. Think about that. So when Joe Biden says everything needs to get locked down, right? There was no law that was installed. There's no. You may have some brown shirts that try to enforce that, but it's not even enforceable. But the corporations, when you walk in a place without a mask, what did the corporations do? Can't come in, or if you stay in, we're going to call the cops on you. Right. And then the cops, if you notice, they weren't arresting you for not wearing a mask, they were arresting you for trespassing. Right. Because mandates aren't a law. And we have to understand that we hold all the power, but we need to unify with the power, because if it's one person here, and one person there, one person there, we're done. And the reality is, I didn't even know that Homeland Security was part of the Real ID until today. Thank you. And that's very, very important to know, because they're etching away slowly at our sovereignty. And what it really is the frog in the pot. Is it not? Right? And you're all familiar with the frog in the pot story, whether it's true or not. You boil a frog slowly just by turning the heat up slowly. It doesn't even know. It doesn't jump out of the pot. Well, that's where we've been for decades, maybe 100 years now, right? And the manipulation has been going on for a long, long time. So what drew me into this race is I have a platform called Screw Big Gov, okay? And the platform's become pretty popular. I've done a lot of documentaries. I exposed the fact that in regards to COVID, did you know the word pandemic was changed in the top 3 dictionaries in 2009? It's interesting, right? I did a little video, 9 minutes. I think it was called COVID Lies. By the way, it got me deleted off of everything, right? That little 9-minute video, I lost virtually every platform in a couple of days. So why was that important? Because in 2009, the original definition of pandemic was virtually people dying in the streets, which was changed, if I summarize it, to whatever the 3-letter agencies tell you it is. Think about that. So does that sound more like a pandemic or a plandemic? Right? Why would they change the definition in 2009 to whatever government agencies tell you it is? That's crazy. That's a fact. It's a fact. But this etching away of our sovereignty has happened so long. So I was traveling all throughout the country with something called the Truth Tour, which is my deal, and we've traveled, I think it was a, thank you, she knows that. One person was there. But we had a lot of people that showed up. We did, I think it was 117 cities in about 2.5 years. 48 states, right? We would have gone to 49, but Hurricane Helene put a stop to that. and we decided to stop the tour, and we ended up bringing our forces to help the people with the hurricane because we had a lot of people that were supporting us. Why is that important? Because what we were teaching is principles that are so important. And I want to give a couple principles, and then we're going to go into some deeper things and go into the Q&A here, of course. And if somebody can give me when I have 2 minutes left, that'd be awesome. Thank you. So, some principles that are very important, and I'd like to explain these to everybody because it is hugely important. So let's say you will go into a school board meeting or a board of supervisors meeting, right? We'll say, we can't make a difference. We go there, we scream, we do everything, we can never make a difference. So I want to tell you a story, and I'm going to show you some facts that really help us take back control, which is hugely important. That's why I'm running as guardian of California, not governor of California. Because I'm an employee of yours and need to do your bidding. And we need to realize that. We need to take back the power. You folks need to tell people that are in so-called power that they're not, that you're in power. You're not interested in them telling you what to do. You need to tell them what to do and demand it at the top of your lungs. One of the biggest problems with conservatives is they don't speak up. And we're told. We're psyoped by somebody like Sean Hannity on Fox News to tell you, don't speak up. Don't you protest. Conservatives don't protest. That's interesting. Don't boycott. Conservatives don't boycott. Well, it's extraordinarily effective, by the way. We've seen it over the last few years. Every time there's a business that does something crazy, like they want to bring in transgender reading hour to a coffee shop, they get boycotted and they'll go out of business. Or somebody else says, you know what, I want to do this. I want to do something that's for the people. And the liberals say, oh, no. What happens? The conservatives run into that business and they do more business in a week than they've done in 2 months prior. So yes, we can boycott. We can definitely vote with our dollars, but we can do a lot. So let me talk about Orange County really quick, because this is an important story, which will prove the point. And I think it's important to have actual facts and stories to show you that we can do this. So in Orange County, California in 2018, so we were doing, I've been investigating this election for a long time. In 2018, 5 Republicans won the Board of Supervisors seat. All 5. Middle of the night, ballot harvesting came in, and in the morning, all 5 of those seats were lost to Democrats. Yeah. Wow. But elections are totally fraud-free, right? Yeah. But here's the challenge. So when they did a press conference in the morning and asked the Republicans about this, their response was, oh well, we'll get them next time. So at that moment, my belief system is the baddies that run things, the parasites, they knew they won the 2020 election at that moment because they knew the conservatives did not have the appetite to fight back. So they just easily, so why do I know that? Because I've talked to CIA agents and I've talked to people that were involved in stealing elections for 40 years overseas. We've been ballot harvesting, stealing elections, using machines overseas to implant who we want, we being the United States. In government, unfortunately, we've done a really bad job of that, probably intentionally with the deep state. So we've known it works. It's not a matter of whether ballot harvesting worked. That wasn't even a question. It was whether we would fight back, so that was the test. But here's how huge it gets for you. Those same 5 supervisors in office during COVID, the pandemic, which I, by the way, call the panic-demic, because we just panicked, right? Those 5 supervisors were the first to introduce a vaccine passport. Wow. That's right. Remember that? I do. They introduced a vaccine passport. Thank goodness Lee Dundas, Brian Isley, and some other people motivated 2,000 people to show up at the Board of Supervisors meeting. About 1,400, I think, signed up to speak. I believe by the time they got to 700, the Board of Supervisors said, you know what, we're going to table this for another day and never brought it back on the agenda. Here's why this is important. They showed up, number one, but they spoke up in unison. Now, I'm going to explain real quick why this is so powerful. Do you think those 5 Democrats that took those seats, stole those seats, do you think maybe they were compromised by somebody?
Yeah, of course.
Think maybe they were paid off, threatened, maybe they were on the Epstein list, who knows, right? They've done something bad, or they're getting money illegally. So they were afraid of their controllers. The people put the fear of God in them that they decided at that moment we are less afraid of our controllers and more afraid of we the people standing up. Here's what they did that's brilliant. And I've studied this until I was blue in the face, traveling around doing what we call boot camps, and everything is on the truth tours. What I discovered is what really made the difference is not just the people showing up, but they were focused on message. The message was the same. So if you have a problem in a school board or in a county or a city that you want to address, we need to pre-organize, get together ahead of time with 1 or 2 consistent messages, but we don't. We go into the county meetings, and what do? You have one person railing on water, another one on transportation, another one on schools, two other are praying over here. One is doing this, one is doing that. And you know what's happening is the board of supervisors sitting back going, oh, this is what we love, tick, 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 tick. We're done, we address nothing. But if you go in there with a consistent message and you guys all get together and hold your own meeting, your pre-meeting, get about 50 people together, have one great speaker, right? Have somebody that's articulate in transcribing the message, and then that speaker goes and then everybody follows. And same message, same message, same message. They will cave. We've seen it time and time again, they will cave. But we the people need to be organized to take our country back. Now people say, Lewis, why are you up here talking about your campaign? Because it's not about me. It's about you.
That's right.
It's about you getting active. And me helping motivate you to get active, and I get active, and you having somebody on the inside like me that will support these actions at the highest level, and we'll take back our cities, our counties, our states, and our country, because the micro fixes the macro.
Yes, that's right.
And the way I'd like you to look at it is really like this, and I say this often. Let's say you take a crystal bowl, and you take 20 pounds and set it on that, say it's a crystal plate. You take 20 pounds and set it on the crystal plate. Nothing happens to the crystal plate. But if you take a pen and put it between the plate and that ball, it will crack every time. Because pinpoint action gets the job done. So remember that analogy, and that sure is going to help you in the future. We can do this. Which time do I have left?
7 minutes.
7 hours? Perfect, thank you. So, why am I running? I'm running for you. I bleed, I cry, I do everything for the people because that's just what God has directed me to do. And I learned a long time, if I believe in eternity, which I do, I have to quantify it in math because I do everything math. I say eternity is 1,000,000 years. Why I'm only on this planet 100 years? Yes, I am because I'm Maha. Well, I do like soda every once in a while, I'm guilty. But I'm on this planet 100 years. So I'm earning my stripes for the 1,000,000 years. That's why I work so hard today for you. And I promise I will always work for we the people. And no matter what, no compromise will ever cross my path. I think they're afraid of me at this time because I literally, when the FBI was at my house trying to interrogate me and somehow get me, they're convincing me somehow as a bad guy with my wife at J6, right? I said, here's what's going to happen. I schooled them on the Constitution. I told them which one's bad cop, which one's good cop. I had fun with them, gave them iced tea and lemonade, and I said, by the time your heels hit the pavement, this will be all over social media. Why on earth would you do that? I go, everybody's going to know exactly what you were doing here. That's because we hold the power. We've always held the power. We give up our sovereignty. Denise was mentioning that, right? So what happened is what finally decided to make me run, because I'm going to tell you right now, you say politics and I throw up in my mouth. I don't like politics. I think it's a disgusting business. It's dirty. It's a money business. Why on earth does money win the day and put the right person in office? It doesn't. Money puts the wrong person in office. And we need to realize that. And we got to stop voting for the lesser of two evils, because then you're complicit in the outcome. We have to stand up for what our true belief system is. So what happened is I said, okay, I have a really large platform. I guess they call me an influencer. How can I make a difference, right? So I looked at the candidates. I looked up and down the Democrats. And I mean, I did look at the Democrats only for one reason. I believe the Democrats are currently a controlled operation, in my opinion, right? So I said, I can't look at them. Let me look at some independents. I'm not seeing much. Let me look at the Republicans. Why? Because I'll be honest, my value set aligns with the Republicans pretty darn well. In fact, I can tell you I'm more conservative than most of the Republicans running. Probably all of them. That's a fact. But I have kind of a libertarian tilt to me sometimes also. Don't get scared, it's a good thing. Right? But here's the reality. When I checked, I tried to see if they aligned with my value set. And what I wasn't seeing is I wasn't seeing anybody talking about the medical mafia and Maha principles. It blew me away. I don't understand. Now some of them are saying it, right? Because they're trying to play catch up. There wasn't anybody talking about the parasites that have been controlling, the globalists that have been controlling everything for decades. I'm like, so these are fear-based people is the way I looked at it, right? I don't deal with fear-based people very well. And then I said, okay, at least they're going to be talking about child sex trafficking, which I've done a documentary on, pretty famous documentary. Nobody was talking about child sex trafficking. Which, by the way, if you take the profit of child sex trafficking in California, it would be the second or third largest industry in California. Think about that, because it's a 95% profitable industry where most of the big ones are 10 to 15%. So, I prayed on it, and I said, God, what am I doing here? And I knew the answer was one thing. Make a documentary and travel up and down California and expose all this stuff. Well, that's not the answer I got back. The answer is you're running for governor. And thank you. Thank you very much. So that was the answer that I got. And I know this will offend some people in the house of the Lord, but I argued. Like, oh Lord, no. I'm not running for governor. That's not me, right? Yes, you are. A big one. I said, okay, what's that look like? And it looks like you're going to be the disruptor, the educator, and we'll see where it goes from there. And that's what I've done my platform on. So first thing I did, because I'm a troubleshooter by nature. I've been in Fortune 500 companies, many companies that have even headhunted me. I go in there and I see a problem, I bring them from the bottom to the top, and I move on to another one. Because solutions are actually simple. If you turn that problem into a challenge, words matter, because sometimes problems can't be fixed. Challenges can always be done, right? So you turn that challenge and you find that solution. So I posted 17 solutions on my website within a month. That's more than all the other candidates did together within their first month. Because I thought it was important. Now I've said, Lewis, don't do that. You don't want to do that, people are going to steal your stuff. And they are. They're stealing my stuff like crazy. But here's the good news. I have 2 brain cells, so that's good. And they may have 1.5, so I think I'm a step ahead of some of these candidates. They're stealing my stuff. It's all time and date stamped. So there's going to be a video that comes out soon that's just going to expose everything that they've been stealing off my platform. So thank you very much. So I am running for governor. I can't wait to hear these fine people here. We're doing a lot of good work, and I can tell you we're doing work right now. So if we ask us about the elections, we have election things right now that are going to help the transfer in California, which they can do now, and they do not have to get the Secretary of State approval. So God bless you. I can't wait to see what our other candidates have to say, and thank you for your time.
Right now, but
Melissa and Christina.
Okay, what I liked about what you both said, you're interested in gardening, taking care of the soil, organics, and you are against chemtrails. Okay, you need to work together. because we're never going to have good food if they can do this to the sky. That's the first thing. The second thing is, what's happening to our communities isn't by accident. There aren't just fires. No, these are weapons, direct energy weapons. The same thing they used on the tower 9/11. Okay, a group of us have been studying geoengineering and all the different weapons that can be used. For example, the Palisades fire, they were putting in, before the fires were even over, they were there to put in railroad tracks and get people out of their homes. The people that were left. I won't go on and on.
What's your question?
My question is, I just want to say, I hope you'll work together. Okay? Also, the gentleman in the blue suit.
Wait, can they respond? Jan, can they respond to what you just
Yes.
said?
I didn't like...
Christina and I are friends.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And we do, I just proposed an event for us to do together that I arranged today, so.
Oh, they're on.
Okay, good. Good. If we can be of help to give you information, this man over here has a lot of information, and so do the rest of us.
Jan, ask your question.
Oh, I'm going to ask a question.
Okay, ask your question.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'll try to form a question here. You seem to think Trump did a good thing getting rid of the extra Latinos in the United States. No matter how he did it. No?
That's not what I said, ma'am.
Okay, good. I misunderstood.
No one said that.
Okay, well, not in so many
No,
words.
they didn't say that at all.
Okay.
I said the worst of the
Okay.
worst.
Good, because I don't like racial profiling at all. And
What's the question?
the question is, how can, I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. I want good policy. What can you do now to have Mr. Trump change his tactics? Because they've been awful.
Well, okay, listen, everybody settle down. You had a question, and you can answer the question.
Whoever wants
Okay.
Thank you. No, unequivocally, from my perspective, I've talked about humanitarianism, and we need to be able to maintain that for all intent and purposes, and how we treat people. I think it was a little bit over the top, frankly, with Tom Holman. I've met Tom Holman, I've talked to Tom Holman. And that's why they're backing out of Minneapolis and other areas, because they need to focus strictly on those individuals that clearly they have evidence and information on, overwhelmingly, beyond a reasonable doubt, that establishes that they are a safety risk to the public. Those are the people that we're focusing on. As a law enforcement officer for 31 years of my life, you follow the rules like everybody else, you apply those rules like everybody else, and those individuals that have broken the law are going to be accountable, and those are the people that they should be focusing on, and they are focusing on now. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that response. Anybody else over on this side? Oh, okay, Bob.
So thank you. This is a wonderful event. The lockdown was the worst thing that ever happened in my lifetime, and I think in the history of this country. And it was an economic hit. These stack and packs are all about the businesses that were put out of business because they weren't allowed to be open. What would you do to ensure that we would never have a lockdown again?
Well, I'll start. I think I really mentioned how powerful I am against mandates. I'm going to agree and disagree with you. The lockdowns were the worst thing for small businesses, but they were the best thing for society because it woke us up.
Yeah.
Right? That was not their intention. Their intention was to suppress us. But this is where we, the people, finally got it. We started paying attention, we started doing searches, we started building community within each other and fighting back. So ultimately, that's where their weapons, their tools were used against them. So I hated it, it was wrong, it's Marxist, but we figured out a way as we the people to stand up. And I bet you a lot of you got activated because of these tyrannical lockdowns. Right? So we're here today for that. So that's the big picture, but absolutely, that's tyranny at the highest level, and I would never support that. Never support that. We're going to have a sheriff's symposium when I get in office with all the sheriffs in California, and we're going to re-educate them on what constitutional sheriffs are supposed to do.
Well said. I was all about the constitutional sheriffs. That was one of the reasons how I met Chad. That's a long story. During the shutdown, one of the things that occurred, again, it was a pandemic. I think we've all agreed. Do we all agree it was a pandemic? For 3 years in a row, city council members across the entire state of California were in 100% agreement to not take away the rights of individual city councils in each province for their right for oversight for development. We won it 100%. I was part of it. I worked with David Rue, and I was very proud of the work we did. During the shutdown, for the first few months, while we were all like sheltering in place, they introduced SB 9 and 10, and they passed it while we were all kind of shocked. I didn't know they were passing bills while we were all sheltering in place. And it was the real estate, that's when Melissa, it was the real estate association, it was the California Real Estate Association, had actually lost control. Developers came in and bought positions on the board and then became an active lobbyist. So, what can we do about SB 9 and 10? What can we do to overturn that? It is one of the banes of our existence. In every neighborhood, there is no more oversight. There's one rule at the state level, no matter how different your communities are. And you guys can probably attest to the fact that California is super different from the tip to the tip. 9 and 10, it's gotta go.
Well, being a real estate agent, I don't know if this is working. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Being a real estate agent and being part of the board, I know a lot of us were vehemently opposed to this, but like you said, it came out of nowhere. And like a lot of bills, like SB 79, and as your state senator, what I would do is completely overhaul that. I would stop it in its tracks, overturn it, amend it, whatever needs to be done is going to get done.
Good.
And that would break the supermajority. That's why this seat is very important.
That's excellent. Thank you. That needs to happen. 9 and 10 need to go.
Very, very good. Enjoyed it. About 4 years ago, I met Bobby Kennedy down in Huntington Beach. We had an interesting, brief but very informative conversation. And that was how to use RICO statutes, federal racketeering, to go after people in the vaccine industry and in a variety of other industries that are out of control. And he and I saw eye to eye on this. Now, I don't think anybody thought he was going to be in the administration at this point, but I think every person needs to learn everything you can about RICO statutes, including going after NGOs like Mr. Soros's organization, which is a real problem. And I want to point something out. I've been involved on election fraud for over 22 years. I worked with a law firm in Dallas on this at the time. And one of the major issues has to do with these private computerized companies. So for example, California, Illinois, and other states, and I'm not sure what they're doing right now, Smartmatic, that company, which is a British company, which you cannot audit based on the contract that was signed with the counties and cities like my hometown of Chicago. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. The head of that company was Lord Malik Brown. Lord Malik Brown today is the head of the Open Society Foundation of George Soros. So I think you need to find a way, and I'd like you to address it, so you learn about this, as issues of RICO statutes to take these SOBs down, and you have to, and Bobby agreed with this, you have to be able to hit them in the pocketbook, because if you don't, nothing will never change. So I'd like to hear your comments on that.
No, I'm going to go ahead and answer that one real quick. When I was working with the United States Attorney's Office, Department of Justice, we used the RICO statutes quite readily against big corporations, as far as in the pharmaceutical community, as well as individuals involved in public corruption. I handled a lot of cases in doing that many, many times over. The point being is that we used a program called Analyst Notebook, which would outline everything for us and put all the dots together, and they've achieved a success rate of about 95%, identifying all of those individuals and the companies and the shell companies and the foreign companies that were tying into all of this. So it can be done, it was being done, and I guarantee you it's going to be done under this particular administration.
Yeah.
I would also like to add,
Let me add on to that really quick.
I would also like to add that a lot of these companies are too big. So companies like Blackstone, BlackRock, State Street, they own too many different companies, and we need to invoke the Antitrust Act against all of these. These companies need to be broken up. They are too powerful, and they are doing a lot of this real estate predatory behavior.
Thank you.
Yes, we need to make anti-monopolization great again.
Yes, yes.
So it's interesting you brought up RICO
Bring
because
Teddy Roosevelt back to life.
does anybody remember when Mike Lindell sued Dominion?
Yes, yes.
That's an 87-page document. I know it very well because I did a movie about it. And what the movie was called The Mother of All Lawsuits. And I did it breaking down so people understood this. And the most powerful thing I talked about, which I said will come to fruition, is the use of RICO. And it's extraordinarily important. And this is our saving grace. You nailed it. RICO's our saving grace. And you can use RICO civilly also, which many people don't understand. It's extraordinarily powerful. So everybody, I would recommend, I'm not going to see my movie. It was boring as hell, that one. But look into RICO. It's very, very important. And Rudy Giuliani did not create RICO, but he figured out how to use RICO properly. And it is our future. And this is how we take our country back. So you nailed it. Thank you.
My friend wrote a civil lawsuit against, a RICO lawsuit against Senator Pan for that SB 276. Next question. I wonder if I've extended my statute of limitations for the RICO.
Just a quick question, Melissa. I live in Playa Vista, and a lot of neighborhoods were mentioned, but that wasn't, so I was just wondering who's in charge, who's representing my neighborhood.
I don't think you're in the city of LA. I think you're governed by the county. Am I correct? Aren't you like Marina Del Rey and Playa Vista?
Well,
what? Playa Vista is the city of Los Angeles?
I'm not sure.
It's okay. Let's move on and we'll look at it later.
What I would propose is that Playa Vista works together with Marina Del Rey and Venice to create a city, or actually combining everything from Venice through Westchester as a city, because then you would be able to afford your own fire department. And one of my proposals is that we create regional fire departments in LA County, and that I can help fund from Congress, so that like the city of Pacific Palisades and Malibu can combine forces to have their own fire department, their own regional fire department. The beach cities have their own regional fire department. Palos Verdes, those cities individually cannot afford a fire department, but that hill will go up like a matchstick. So the 4 cities together could have a regional fire department.
Thank you.
That's a great idea.
Real quick, I represent you, by the way, wherever you live in California.
Oh,
That's very funny. Louis? And then we'll be right over.
A similar question following up to that. Melissa, are you running in Ted Lieu's district?
Yes.
Okay, then you'll have my vote.
Next question. Raise a hand. Jan, you're going to ask a question, right? I have PTSD. You are, right? You promise me?
I think most of you would agree, and I think you said you are not for pandemics. And I think none of us are. I heard our governor, who was running for president, say that the bird flu pandemic is here. And everyone's going to have to get their vaccine. And if we refuse, I have another question. If we refuse, he will call on the help from the Israeli Defense Forces. What I wonder is, yeah, he did say that. My question is, do you have another idea? And do you think it's appropriate for a president to choose another nation to decide what we have to do?
If Gavin Newsom gets elected president and I'm in Congress, I will launch impeachment.
why we dropped out of who.
Yeah, that is. And just so everybody remembers, Jan, I don't know if you've looked this up, but do you remember the egg thing and the bird thing? They were going around killing ostriches and killing people's flocks. It ended because of Bobby. And the reason it ended is because Bobby silently shut down the funding. So go backwards all the way to one of the first actions Bobby did, look up articles and you will find it. It's the reason why everything stopped. And suddenly there were eggs on the shelf and the persecution of feathered friends was over. It was because Bobby stopped it at the HHS level. So, just so you guys know. Is there another question? Elaine, do you have a question? No? No
While
other
you're
questions?
looking for another question, I just want to just remind everybody of one thing, and it's very, very important. We need to stop looking at government to solve our problems. Yeah. Non-compliance fixes the problem every time. Okay? And remember, everybody's going to remember, do you remember something called monkeypox? They were trying to push monkeypox on us, right?
Yes.
We pushed back so fast and so quick, they dropped that ball like you couldn't believe it. That was we, the people, that did it.
And I'd like to say one thing, just to remind people for the primaries. I know it's June 2nd, and I know we've been auto-trained to go vote on voting day, but we can't let them win. So what we need to do is, as soon as the ballots drop, we need to play their game, put them in the mail, go deliver them in a box or in Norwalk or at the library, and hand deliver them and put them in where they belong in the boxes, because that's going to save money for the candidates. So we don't have to do all the data research and everything Melissa was mentioning, and it will let us know, and you can track your ballots too.
Boxes at the polling place, not on the sidewalk.
Right, back boxes at the polling place, not on the sidewalk. Remember that. Those little kiosks, they're not safe.
And I just want to second that. I'll be the only Sean, and that's S-E-A-N. So when you see Sean Collinson, the mediator, you'll immediately go, that's Sean from the church. Okay? So let's get this right this time. You guys have amazing people. You're hearing it firsthand. I can't believe this place is packed.
I know. I can't.
I can't believe it.
I know. Believe me.
We lucked up with this small audience tonight.
Well, when you guys come to Elaine's meeting and speak on the first Monday of next month, this room will be packed.
Yeah.
And it'll be packed with nobody from here.
Yeah.
So it'll be a good neighborhood way for you guys to mingle. I'd like to ask a question from each of you so you can each comment on it. You guys are running. You guys know government. What have you guys done in government? Like, do you guys have a pal that you are talking to, or somebody that's giving you some inside information, or are you guys attached to somebody who's in government right now someplace that is secretly telling you something, or that you're following them? We just want to know, because here we are, we're separated, we all know. I'm telling you, you guys are all talking, I mean, these two know, and so do you. You're talking to a group of people who basically spent Christmas and Thanksgiving together for quite a few years, because our own families wouldn't speak to us. Our own families would not speak to us. So we've stood out, we're the rebels, and we're willing to do the work. We're just wondering, are you guys, in your speaking out, alone? Are you able to converse with other people in Congress or other people in any position within government, within politics? So I'll let each of you guys answer.
Maybe I'll go first because I'm right. Well, I do have a team, and I'm NPP, no party preference. I'm the independent candidate for lieutenant governor. I think someone mentioned non-party preference, but I'm sort of conservative. On the team, to answer your question, I am connected with some folks that are currently in the government. I'll give them a pass today, but I do conversate to hear, how are you moving? And I think if we just shut everyone off, then how do you play chess if the other guy doesn't make a move? So oftentimes I find out that people play checkers, and I seem to like chess. So sometimes I'm Bobby Fischer in the room playing with 25 people at once to just figure out what's happening. And automatically I'm going to bring that back to my constituents, which are the people, and do what we need to do to get the job done. And as a mediator, I'll leave you with this. My job is clearly to get an agreement, to get resolutions and things passed that we all can live with.
That's right.
Not special interest.
Right.
So thank you for being here. I'm going to run in 5 minutes. So if anyone wants to say hello or shake my hand, I'll be around for 5. My son's at basketball practice, and my wife's going to shoot me if I don't get back.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Thank you.
So as for me, I don't like the government telling me what to do. So it is what it is. On that note, the people that have endorsed me that I respect in government, such as Carlos Mayo, Senator Sandon Grove, Senator Tony Strickland from Huntington Beach, and now he's our senator. These people have common sense, in my opinion, and these people appeal to all sides, all political spectrums, and I listen to them. But in the end, again, I'm a mama bear. I do my own research, and I have a team with me, and then I also like to hear from other candidates, what they're thinking about doing, but mostly I listen to you, the people.
Thank you.
So, I do still have the cell phone number of Mark Hall, that's Tom Homan's right-hand man, and when I do encounter terrorists at the grocery store, I do send him more information, which is how I know the southern border is secure, and they are now working on the northern border. I also have the endorsement of Senator Josh Hawley, because I told him I want to work together with him to get a parents' rights bill passed, which we're very excited about the Supreme Court decision yesterday. And I also have the cell phone number of Congressman Mike McCall.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
My experience has told me that I take everything out here with a grain of salt. I've been in the position, you get a flood and an overwhelming amount of information. It's up to you to be able to go ahead and distinguish fact from fiction. In my position, my doctorate's in education. I'm a coach, I'm an educator. My job is to educate you, the public, get the right information out there, weed out the chaff, and figure out what is fact, what is fiction. Yes, I do have contacts, innumerable contacts in Congress right now. I'm working with Jason Smith on the Ways and Means Committee. I mean, I can go down a list, but the fact is, I've got a lot of contacts. Kat Kamek, who was correcting me on that. On agriculture, working very heavily with our agriculture community in Ventura County right now on a myriad of different issues. And like I said, there's a lot of different, Maria Salazar in Florida on the immigration issues, Veronica Escobar in Texas, Ted Cruz. I mean, I can go through the entire list. But all these people, Tom Homan, I've been down in Mar-a-Lago and met a lot of people down there. All that being said, that doesn't mean anything. You get a lot of information coming in.
Yeah.
You've got to distinguish and do your own research. Have your team, as my colleagues here have said, you've got to have the team go in and evaluate the information for what is legitimate, what is not legitimate. I have contacts in Israel. I have contacts in Great Britain. And that's just from a previous life and current life. So I'm updating information, and as you ask questions, I will convey to you what is fact versus what is fiction and what you're hearing in the media right now. And we know the media doesn't lie. So that's what we are. We're the buffer. We're the truth sellers right now as far as getting the information out to you to let you know, so that way, one, you don't have to be concerned. Is there a war coming? Are there going to be missiles coming over? No. We're going to go ahead and distinguish what is fact and fiction. So yes, I do have innumerable contacts to be able to work to your benefit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
I have a lot of contacts, but I'll tell you what I shy away from is most political contacts. I literally do. I literally shy away from them because I get a bunch of BS from them and I don't play games. Discernment is the most important. So what I'm magnetized to is warriors. So I'll give you an idea. There's somebody named Trennis Evans who's probably the biggest warrior for Tina Peters. Trennis Evans endorsed me. Okay? Mark Cook, one of the biggest warriors for fixing the elections, repairing them. Mark Cook endorsed me. I've got Navy SEALs that have endorsed me. Top people endorsed me. And the reason why is because I deal with warriors. Because warriors is what's going to take this country back. So insiders are my contacts to get me the information to make the right decision.
We don't have any final questions. Sorry. sorry, I turned my mic off.
Who's the Attorney General candidate that you guys are recommending?
Wait, hold on, you need to be on the mic.
That's a good Michael Gates.
Oh, yes, Michael Gates.
Did
He's
you
actually
hear
at the
that?
White House right now. Yes,
Who's the principal person for Attorney General that you're recommending?
Michael Gates. She's
Michael
right.
Gates.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
from Orange County, he's amazing.
Good, thank you.
He just went to the White House, literally, what, like 8 months
We
ago?
also have an Orange County supervisor, Republican, running for Secretary of State, and I can't remember his name. Wagner, Don Wagner.
Okay, those are easy names.
Yeah. Any other questions? Ian? Hi there.
This is for our congressional candidates specifically. One of the mandates of Congress is declarations of war or not. We have a president who promised to get us out of Ukraine, has failed on that, promised to stop starting foreign wars like Venezuela and now Iran. What would you do to hold this president and any other president accountable and hold the Congress accountable to their duty, which is to declare war or not? Thank you.
I can answer this one. Circumstances change, and I'm not going to give you a political answer. What it comes down to is that every situation, every circumstances, I've negotiated treaties in Ukraine, I've been there before, and the circumstances, the people change. So you can't just make a general statement, what are you going to do to keep the president in line? Because the president has information coming in at any given time that nobody here has in that given moment. So you have to react and have to defend. But to answer your question, provide him, depending on what position I'm in, because you don't just get to walk into the president's office. He'll take your phone call as a congressional member. But is to get the most information, the best information, the accurate information, and convey that to the president under no uncertain terms that this is not in the interest of the United States, or that as far as the Congress being concerned, they have 48 hours, as you well know if you're up to speed on the Constitution. 48 hours, the president can act, and then has to be notified within 48 hours, and then 60 days with an additional 30 days, 90 days total, to be rebriefed as to whether or not the continuation of that conflict or incident needs to be justified by the United States Congress from a funding perspective and a declaration of war rendered.
Well said.
Also, the president is the commander-in-chief of the military according to the Constitution, and we need to recognize that. But also, my opponent, Ted Lieu, tried to pass legislation in 2018 usurping the president's power as commander-in-chief on behalf of North Korea. How do I know this? Because he went to the Plowshares Fund after proposing this legislation that would usurp the commander-in-chief role from the president and bragged about it. And the Plowshares Fund is financed by Iran and North Korea.
Disgusting. 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 We have our next question.
Hi, the question is for Lewis Holmes. Hi. You recently spoke about eliminating California property taxes and to rest assured the retired, no more reverse mortgages. Would you mind explaining that a little, please?
Say the reverse mortgage part again. I didn't understand that part of the question.
Well, I didn't understand. You made a comment, I think it was an ad or something, about no more reverse mortgages for people that could relax. They didn't have to worry about having to do that.
I don't recall that, but I'll definitely address the property tax, and I'll tell you how I get there, because that's important. There's a couple candidates now saying we're going to get rid of property tax as long as you spend $1 million and pay off your home. I mean, that's crazy. But here's the simple way to solve a lot of problems in California. There's something called WARF that I named it. It's called Waste, Abuse, Redundancy, and Fraud. WARF, easy to remember. I've been mentioning for several years that we have at least 50% WARF in California. February of last year, I said it's 75%. I was called a tinfoil hat wearing lunatic. Do you think I'm a lunatic today? I think it's likely that we're 75% waste, abuse, redundancy, and fraud. So we're going to super doge And by the way, a few weeks after I said Super Doge, Steve Hilton came up with Cow Doge. I'm just saying, he was on stage with me. I have the tapes. So we're gonna Super Doge California. We're gonna do a full forensic audit in California, as deep as you can possibly imagine. And we're gonna discover the wharf. We get rid of the wharf, and now suddenly California has a surplus, which we don't need, which we give, which we did have at one time, which we give back to the people. How do we do that? Buy property taxes, and it's likely we'll get rid of income taxes also. It's it's possible. We can do it, and it is absolutely doable. We just have to have the spine to go through it and do it, and that's what we're going to do.
Just keep a few people here.
Yeah, and well, not only keep here, guess what? Businesses are going to flood back here. The reason why this issue is so important, right? It helps with homelessness. It actually, believe it or not, it reduces abortions. What? Is he crazy?
Yeah.
Here's why. When the economy skyrockets, abortions plummet. They're directly correlated. There's so many things that are directly involved with this. It'll help with homelessness. It'll help with so many things. It gives the control back to where? We the people, and that's where we need to have it.
I think that's very well said. Okay, we have one more question. There's somebody over there?
No.
Oh, she was just holding up her sign. Wait, what was your sign? Oh, We the People. Very cute. I just want to make a comment. I came here in 1979 because those terrorists took over my country, Iran. I'm Persian Armenian. English was my first language because my parents were wealthy and I went to private British school. But outside of that, when I came to America, my family lost everything. We were lucky to be able to come here. We did it legally, and there was no money. Like my parents got no services. We got nothing. We dealt with what we could. We stayed together as a community. Nowadays, people are coming here and they're expecting us to give reparations to them, and it's sickening. It really is. And I just want you to know, I didn't see it for decades, and suddenly that's what needs to be doged, is that money.
Yes.
Yeah, what I would like to suggest is, I know they have mailers, Republican Party, no party preference, what have you, but I've never even heard of, not Matt Gaetz, but what do you...
Michael Gates.
Right, and so, and also Secretary of State, because, these names are also new. What I like to propose is maybe Yvette, I know mailers are expensive and they usually come from the, recommendation endorses Democrats, Republicans, or if maybe What Matters LA, if you could think about in the emails sending us the names, the endorsed, because they're so unfamiliar to me.
We have to have a voter's guide.
Yeah, he's just trying to get you to make a voter's guide.
No,
I don't have enough to deal with a voter's guide.
Well, I volunteer to help, you always say, like, you don't need any help. You're always like that. You won't do that.
What Matters slate?
Well, yeah, because that'd be helpful to me. Because you only get the mailers, which are
What Matters
expensive.
voter guide?
Yeah, something like that. Because I'm embarrassed. I never heard of these names, and so.
Well, yeah, and why would you? I mean, the reason I know him is because Denise and I were in Orange County. We were at those meetings, by the way, and we were fighting Doe, particularly, who had taken $700,000 from a company that was trying to create a app for everybody to use, and the app was about your health, and if you weren't a business with it, and if you weren't an individual with it, you couldn't access stores and food because you had to prove that you had a vaccine. So, by the way, he's in prison right now. So that's the good news there. But Michael Gaetz was, he was the district attorney over there, and then he got called to, President Trump called him, so he's been there for I think 8 or 9 months now. Did we have any more questions, or can we socialize now? Elaine, did you have a question? Okay, big hand for everybody that's here at Social Hour. Please make sure you sign the petitions. Do not leave before you sign, and sign it properly. Thank you.
I think that you guys are going to be available for a few minutes while we're here. So if you have questions, you can see our